Glenn Beck sucks, but that doesn't change the fact that this happened.
It was June 19th, 2021. Anthony Fauci gets a phone call from a radiologist at Sibley Hospital in Washington. Now, we know this from the diaries. How did we get the diaries? Rand Paul released his private diaries. No. Anthony Fauci was dumb enough to write his diaries on public servers.
That's really hard to believe, but I don't know. And I'm going to tell you why right now. These terrors and whatever demons are really that dumb. And what we're going to use as an example to prove it is that guy, Doug Brignall. And if you're not familiar with who that is, I've done countless videos on this guy and others like him. Doug Brignall was a dude who I think was either in his 40s or his 50s. He was a bodybuilder. And whenever they were out there pushing the shots on everybody, Doug Brignall came out on social media and said, I'm going to go get this shot. And if it kills me, all you stupid and called conspiracy theorists and all kinds of other names to people who did not agree or believe in those things being safe or effective or that you should push them on anybody. He said, I'm going to go get one of these things, one of these warp speeders. And if it kills me, you're right. If not, then all y'all should die or whatever. Okay? And then the dude died, I think, maybe a year or less after he received the shot. So they really are that dumb and arrogant. And it's really hard to understand and to wrap your head around and to really, because did Fauci really do that? I don't know, but they are that dumb. So there are instances where they really, really are that stupid. And that's what that Doug Brignall guy said. He said, if this kills me, you guys can use me as an example. So, I mean, the conversation was over about this thing a long time ago, but y'all want to keep it going for whatever reason.
He wrote them on government servers. Those are now government property. It was RFK Jr. that found them on the servers, and he released them to Rand Paul. Rand Paul then said, well, they're public, so release them all. We find this out, this little piece, we find out now this week that he goes to the hospital in Washington. He goes in for a scan because he said he's never felt pain like this before. He has pain in his chest. He's worried maybe it's a heart attack. Now, he had just gotten publicly his shot for the coronavirus.
Another thing, I have such a hard time with that. I have a hard time that Joe Biden took it. But what we know is that Joe Biden was cleared by his physician, a White House presidential physician, cleared Joe Biden, 2024, I think, cleared him at his annual presidential physical, was cleared by the doctor, clean bill of health, Joe Biden is great. Within, I don't even think it was 2-3 months later, Joe Biden was diagnosed with aggressive stage 4 asshole turbo cancer. So I just have such a hard time believing these guys actually took this stuff. But I don't know. But either way, the story and real report is, let's just continue.
Okay, he gets his shot that's definitely going to stop it from, you're never going to have to worry about it again. Anyway, so the radiologist does something because he's Anthony Fauci that no radiologist would ever do. You ask a radiologist, what do you see? The radiologist always says nothing because he's not a doctor. He's a nothing. I don't know. You have to talk to your doctor. The doctor will give you that. Okay, so the radiologist looks at it and he says there's a lesion in your lower lobe and I think it's cancer. So he writes in his diary that he felt like he was hit by a Mack truck. Turns out it wasn't cancer. What was it? A pulmonologist reread the film. What Fauci had was a pulmonary infarct. Wait, what? What is that? What is that? Piece of lung tissue that died because a clot cut off his blood supply.
See, and that's how my dad died. My dad was a real fat bastard and had been that way his whole life and refused to fix it. Even though my mom tried for the entire time I've been alive to get him to fix and change that. So my mom being a 40-year nurse, took this thing told him to take it. My dad was already on blood thinners called Coumadin, and my dad had a heart attack and he died. And my mom found him, and my mom almost had a heart attack and died when she found him because she found him all alone. That was the third person she found. My dad did that to my mom. My mom found her dad, her actual father. I was with her. So was my sister. My mom, my sister, and my mom, my sister, and me all walked in and found my grandpa, her dad, dead in the kitchen, blood splattered everywhere. Not going to get into how that happened, but then whatever, 20, 30, 40 years after that happened, 30 years after that happened, my dad completely ignores my mom's medical advice, says, get better, you're going to get a heart attack, gives him his shot, he takes a shot, he has a heart attack. She comes home after seeing the kids one day, the cousins' kids, the grandkids, as they're called, and she finds them dead and almost has a heart attack herself and almost dies too. My neighbor across the street, she took this thing because her brother told her to. Her brother is now dead, and she just died on Friday. Within a year, she completely fell apart. And in fact, this is the neighbor across the street that did this. The neighbor next to me said, wow, that is really something. Because just last year, this is what her exact words, within a year, you're mowing your own lawn and then you're dead. So they went out and told everybody it was still safe and effective, even though this supposedly happened. And this clown here, Glenn Beck, still supports Trump, not asking any questions about how come Fauci isn't being hanged, how come Trump isn't taking accountability for all this, still pushes Trump because it's all, I don't know, people, and all this stuff continues to be allowed to go on. I've got people in my family that are still all about Trump and getting upset about people bitching about him on social media. It doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why I don't make videos like I do anymore. And I don't know how many more I'm going to make because y'all have got your mind made up. The whole world's poison. Everybody's going to be dead or disabled. 86% of the world's population is going to be dead or disabled within the next few years. And where do we go from here? Everybody's just going to sit around, take it up the ass like Saturn loves to give and you like to take, and everybody just gets to fucking die and get disabled while everybody keeps their mouth shut. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I got nobody on here I can connect with or talk to because nobody cares. So I don't know what I'm doing on here. I've said everything I needed to say and everything that I can say. I'm not a doctor. I told you through, just extensive evidence and research and just common sense that you don't take a warp speed vaccine. There hadn't been anything tested on this thing. It was that simple. And 86% of the entire world ignored that, including my mom. They're like, no, it's totally fine. And now there's not even anybody even demanding any repercussions. So I don't have anything really in common with anybody. And then I could go off about the Epstein list in a whole other way, but whatever. So this is crazy. I mean, it's one thing about the Epstein list because it's not your kids, but when it's literally your family and your friends you supposedly love and care about, and you don't say shit, you know good and goddamn well, man, that shit's what's happening. But we can all keep playing games and just pretend. I'm sure it's going to work out for y'all. Yep, I'm sure it's going to work out well for everybody. So what have you done for love today? Might be something you want to think about, so Glenn Beck ain't on here talking about you having a pulmonary infarct.